Section 46 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita that talks about the abetter. That is, who is an abetter? A person abets an offence who abets either the commission of an offence or the commission of an act which would be an offence if committed by a person capable by law of committing an offence with the same intention or knowledge as that of the abetter. The abetter must be substantially assist the principal culprit toward the commission of the offence. Para 1 of section 46 defines abetter. Abetter means one who abet the commission of an offence or one who abet the commission of an act which would be an offence if committed by a person not suffering from any physical or mental incapacity. What amounts to abetment is already explained in section 45. We have already discussed the abetment, that is what amount to abetment, that is what constitute the abetment in section 45 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. Therefore, here we have to see who is an abetter. That is, therefore, abetter is one who instigates, aids, or encourages in conspiracy within the meaning of section 45. An abetter falling in category B, as stated above, may be explained with the help of an illustration. Suppose A instigates B, a lunatic, to kill C. B kills C. Here B, being a lunatic, could be excused under section 22 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, that is of unsound mind or of insanity, and would not be liable for murder. But A would still be liable for the offence of abetment because A has abetted the commission of the offence of killing, which would be an offence if committed by a person who is not a lunatic. Mere subsequent knowledge of the offence does not constitute abetment. Abetment is a substantive offence. Therefore, conviction of an abetter is not dependent on the conviction of the principal or the person abetted. A person who has been convicted of an offence as principal cannot be punished as abetter also. Explanation 1. The abatement of the illegal omission of an act may amount to an offence, although the abetter may not himself be bound to do that act. Explanation 2 appended to this section. To constitute the offence of abatement, it is not necessary that the act abated should be committed, or that the effect requisite to constitute the offence should be caused. Some of the illustration. For example, A instigates B to murder C. B refuses to do so. A is guilty of abetting B to commit murder. Then suppose A instigates B to murder D. B, in pursuance of the instigation, stabs D. D recovers from the wound. A is guilty of instigating B to commit murder. Explanation 1 makes it clear that if a public servant is guilty of an illegal omission of duty, which is made punishable by this Samhita, and a private person instigates or aid him not to do his legal duty, then he is said to have abated the offence of which such public servant is guilty. Though the abetter, being a public servant or private person, could not himself have been guilty of illegal omission of that duty. In explanation 2, there are two parts of the explanation. According to first part, the offence of abatement is complete even though the person abated refused to do the act abated or fails involuntarily on doing it, or does the act but the expected result does not follow. The offence of abatement by instigation depends upon the intention of the person who abets and not upon the act which is actually done by the person abated. The latter part says that to constitute the offence of abatement, it is not necessary that the effect requisite to constitute the offence should be caused. Illustration B explains this situation fully well. There, B, in pursuance of the instigation, stabs D, and D also recovered from the wound. A had instigated B to murder D. Since D recovered from the wound, it is clear that a requisite effect to constitute the offence of murder was not caused. But even then, A is guilty of instigating B to commit murder. Thus, an offence can be abated, though the means which are intended to be implied are such that it is physically impossible that the effect requisite to constitute the offence should be caused by them. In case the accused offered money to C for killing or disabling B by means of charms, it was left upon the choice of C to decide whether to kill or disable B. B was in fact killed. The accused was guilty of abetment of murder. Further, A instigates B to give false evidence. B does not give false evidence. Here A committed any offence. Suppose A instigates B to give false evidence. B does not give false evidence. The question is, has A committed any offence? In this case, A will be liable for instigating B to give false evidence, and according to explanation 2 of section 46, to constitute an offence of abatement, it is not necessary that the act abated should be committed. Then explanation 3. Explanation 3, it is not necessary that the person abated should be capable by law of committing an offence, or that he should have the same guilty intention or knowledge as that of the abater, or any guilty intention or knowledge. Illustration attached to this explanation 3. A with a guilty intention abets a child or a person of unsound mind to commit an act which would be an offence if committed by a person capable by law of committing an offence and having the same intention as A. Here A, whether the act be committed or not, is guilty of abetting an offence. Illustration B. A with the intention of murdering Z instigate B, a child under 7 years of age, to do an act which causes just death. B, in consequence of the abatement, does the act in the absence of A and thereby causes Z's death. Here, though B was not capable by law of committing an offence, still A is liable to be punished in the same manner as if B had been capable by law of committing an offence and had committed murder, and he is therefore subject to the punishment of death. Then illustration C. A instigates B to set fire to a dwelling house. B, in consequence of the unsoundness of mind, being incapable of knowing the nature of the act, or that he is doing what is either wrong or contrary to law, sets fire to the house in consequence of A's instigation. Here, B has committed no offence because of his unsoundness of mind, but A is guilty of abetting the offence of setting fire to a dwelling house and is liable to the punishment provided for the offence. Illustration D. A, intending to cause theft to be committed, instigates B to take property belonging to Z out of Z's possession. A induces B to believe that the property belongs to A. B takes the property out of Z's possession in good faith, believing it to be A's property. B, acting under this misconception, does not take dishonestly and therefore does not commit theft. But A is guilty of abetting theft and is liable to the same punishment as if B had committed theft. Then the explanation 4. The abetment on offense being an offense. The abetment of such an abetment is also an offense. Explanation 4 of section 46 provides. Explanation 4 to section 45 provides that abetment of an offense being an offense, the abetment of such an abetment is also an offense. Illustration. A instigates B to instigate C to murder Z. B accordingly instigates C to murder Z, and C commits that offense in consequence of B's instigation. B is liable to be punished for this offense with the punishment for murder, and as A instigates B to commit the offense, A is also liable to the same punishment. Then explanation 5 provides that it is not necessary to the commission of the offense of abetment by conspiracy that the abetter should concert the offense with the person who commits it. It is sufficient if he engages in the conspiracy in pursuance of which the offense is committed. Illustration appended to this explanation, that is, A concert with B a plan for poisoning Z. It is agreed that A shall administer the poison. B then explains the plan to C, mentioning that a third person is to administer the poison, but without mentioning A's name. C agrees to procure the poison and procures and delivers it to B for the purpose of its being used in the manner explained. A administers the poison. Z dies in consequence. Here, though A and C have not conspired together, yet C has been engaged in the conspiracy in pursuance of which Z has been murdered. C has therefore committed the offense defined in this section and is liable to the punishment for murder. Explanation 3 makes it clear that it is not necessary that the person abated should have any guilty intention or knowledge at all. The accused may not be capable by law of committing an offense. Thus, he may not have the same guilty intention or knowledge as the abater. Thus, the entire emphasis is on the criminality and guilty intention of the abater and not the person abated. The person abated may do an act without any criminal intention or knowledge, or may not be capable of forming such criminal intention as the offense committed requires. Therefore, he would not be liable. But even then, the abater who instigated that person to do that act would be liable as abater, although the person abated was not held liable. Illustration D to this explanation makes it clear that in order that abater may be punished, it is not necessary that the person abated should have committed the offense and been punished. It is also clear from the illustration B, C and D that if a man does, by means of an innocent agent, an act which amounts to a crime, the employer is liable although the agent is not liable. The agent is not liable because he lacks capacity to form the criminal intent, because of immaturity of age, or because of the unsoundness of mind, or he may act under a mistake of fact, etc. This explanation applies to all kinds of abetment, instigation, aiding, or conspiracy. Further, the explanation 4 makes it clear that abetment of an offense is a substantive offense. Abetment an offense is an offense under section 220 subsection 24 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita also. Therefore, abetment is also an offense. Illustration attached to this explanation demonstrates the position very clearly. However, the words abetment of an offense being an offense do not mean that when an abetment of an offense is actually committed, then only one who abets the offense of abetment shall be liable. It simply means that when the offense of abetment, according to its definition under the Sanhita, is constituted, then abetment of the offense of such abetment shall be an offense. This can be made easier by an illustration. That is, for example, A instigates B to instigate C to murder D. B does not instigate C or refuses to incite C, but even then, A would be liable for abetment. The abetment of an abetment is an offense, though the second abetment is ineffective. Thus, a person who makes himself an abetter by intervention of a third person without any direct communication between himself and the person implied to do the thing. In the illustration mentioned above, there was no direct communication between A and C. C was the person implied to do the desired act. B was the third person between the abetter and the person implied to do that very act. In a case MST, Bakhtawar, the accused asked D, a medical practitioner, and her neighbor to supply her with medicine for the purpose of poisoning her son-in-law. D supplied her with the medicine. It was held that D was liable as an abetter to abet the lady to commit the murder of her son-in-law. The explanation 5 makes it clear that this explanation applies to abetment by conspiracy. According to this, it is not necessary that all persons joining in any conspiracy must be aware of every secret or every minute detail of it. A number of persons may be involved in a conspiracy, and each one of them may play distinct role. Maybe that some one of them do not have the knowledge of the details, but if he engages in the conspiracy in pursuance of which the offense is committed, he would be liable. It is not necessary that the abetter should consult the offense with the persons who commits it. Illustration to this explanation also makes the position sufficiently clear. To take another illustration, A and B conspired together for making and engraving a plate for purposes of forgery. A only gave an order to C for the manufacture of the plate. C never saw B until the plate was manufactured. Here both A and B would be liable for making and engraving the plate, although one of them, namely B, never knew about the innocent agent C.